Hello everybody, and welcome back to Certified Collectibles. This is another episode of First Appearance of the Week. This is Wednesday, November 16th, 2022. We'll be giving you all the first appearance in your comic shops today. Now this week we have a pretty good lineup for you guys. I think we have 6 first appearances, 7 honorable mentions, so 13 titles in all to go through. Definitely some books in there for you guys to pick up for your collection. So let's go ahead and get started for the first appearances of the week ending November 18th, 2022. First up from DC Comics, Dark Crisis Worlds Without a Justice League Batman #1. This features the first appearance of Mr. Wax. Now this title series is clearly a subset series or a B series for DC Comics. This is not one of their tentpole series. They are introducing a new character into this new title series, but it really depends on what they do with this character or what they do with this title series as to how important this book is going to be in the future. So for this one here, we really think you got some time on this one. Put this one here on your B list for now and take a look at it later on. Next up from DC Comics, Batman One Bad Day Mr. Freeze #1. This features the first appearance of Frostbite, a female sidekick of Mr. Freeze. Now once again, this is a subset series or B series for DC Comics. This is not one of their Batman tentpole series such as Detective Comics or the Batman standalone series. So this one here, once again, it really depends on what they do with this new Frostbite character. This is a female sidekick of Mr. Freeze. So this character here does have some potential to be introduced into a small screen or big screen project, make it into the DCU proper. So this one here may be worth picking up the spec on, but once again, we do think you probably have some time on this one. Put this one here in your B list for now and keep an eye on it. Next up from DC Comics, Nightwing #98. This features the first appearance of Nightmite, a Nightwing version of Batmite. Now for this one here, we don't really see Nightmite being a huge part of the DCU or a huge part of any of the DC franchises. Same thing with Batmite. You know, there are some collectors out there that do pick up these comics with these spin-off characters. You know, Batmite, there are some collectors for that particular book, the first appearance of Batmite. And this is the first appearance of Nightmite, so maybe in the future there's a couple collectors that may want this particular issue. But like I just said, I really don't think Nightmite is going to be a big deal in the future. But you know, I could be wrong. Maybe that's the next big thing for DC Comics. Who knows? But in my opinion, I think you probably got some time on this one. Put this one here in your B list for now and take a look at it later on. Next up from DC Comics, Stargirl The Lost Children #1. This features the first appearance of Childminder. Now, the Stargirl character does have a fan base and a collector base. This is not the Stargirl standalone series, though. This is Stargirl The Lost Children. This is kind of a subset series. They are introducing a new character into this particular series, but it really depends on what they do with this character and the Stargirl franchise in general. It's really hard to say at this point if this particular issue or this particular title series will have any longevity going forward. But they are introducing a new character into the Stargirl franchise, so if you're a collector of this franchise, this may be worth picking up. Otherwise, put this one here on your B list and keep an eye on it. Next up from Marvel Comics, Star Wars Hidden Empire #1. This features the first cameo appearance of Iden Versio. This issue also introduces the Fermata Cage, a Sith-killing weapon. Now this one here, we do think you should pick up and add to your collection. You know, we always say this with these Marvel published Star Wars titles. It's always a good idea to pick those up and add to your collection. You know, Marvel, Disney is still churning out a ton of Star Wars media, whether small screen or big screen. And this features the first cameo appearance of a new character and the introduction of a new weapon, a new Sith-killing weapon. So in our opinion, this one here is definitely worth picking up and adding to your collection for the cover price. Go ahead and grab this one. And finally from Marvel Comics, Wakanda #2. This features the first appearance of LaCroix, a villain who leads a rising faction. Now, the Black Panther franchise is still going incredibly strong. They just released a new feature film. You know, this is the Wakanda title series. This is not the Black Panther standalone title series, but they are introducing characters into this particular title series. It's really hard to say how important this series will be going forward, but they seem to be introducing the characters for the Black Panther universe into this particular title series, so it may be worth picking up and adding to your collection. You know, like I said, the Black Panther franchise is still going incredibly strong, huge fan base, huge collector base, so this one here may be worth picking up to add to your collection. Marvel, Disney is still churning out a ton of media for this franchise, and we expect to see this going forward. So this one here may be a good addition. Go ahead and grab this one here if you can. If you can't, put it in your B list, but keep an eye on it. And now for the honorable mentions. From Volt Comics, Door to Door, Night by Night. A group of traveling salesmen discover a terrible secret that opens their eyes to a world full of real monsters hidden in every small town. Now this one here sounds like it lends itself very well to a small screen or big screen project, and Volt Comics has had a lot more attention on their titles recently, and they have had some titles picked up an option in the past. Like we always say with these small press and indie publishers, whenever they have a title pick up an option for a small screen or big screen project, that's a huge price driver going forward for these titles. This one here, in our opinion, is a great spec bet. Pick it up if you can. If you can't, put it in your B list, but definitely keep an eye on this one. Next up from Image Comics, Chroma #1. Chroma lives her days out in darkness, believing she is the most evil creature alive, but a mysterious orphan sees her as human and seeks to find a day for them to escape the cruel fate of the Pale City. Once again, sounds like it lends itself very well to a small screen or big screen project, and Image Comics has had a lot of their titles picked up in the past. Image Comics, Boom Comics, Dark Horse, those are the three big names for the indie and small press publishers that you guys want to keep in mind. Whenever they have a new series come out like this, it's great to spec on these premiere issues because, like I said, when they get picked up, these issues become huge. And if they go nowhere, you're out a couple bucks, but in our opinion, it's worth risking the few dollars to sit on a big winner. So this one here, we think is a great spec bet. Pick it up if you can. If you can't, put it in your B-list, but keep an eye on it. Next up from Aftershock Comics, Last Ride of Pillar and Pride #1. Two adults who were childhood heroes return to their hometown to mend relationships, but find that a new evil has emerged. Once again, sounds like it'll lend itself very well to a small screen or big screen project, and Aftershock Comics has had a lot of their attention on their titles lately, so this one here, another great spec bet, but if you can't get them all, put this one in here in your B-list and keep an eye on it. Next up from Comics Experience Publishing, Saga of a Doomed Universe #1. The world's heroes have been murdered, except for one costume loser, who is now Earth's last hope. Now this one here sounds like it lends itself very well to a small screen and big screen project. Now the story alone sounds great, sounds like it's easily translatable to a TV show, streaming series, or feature film. Comics Experience Publishing, I haven't really heard of this particular publishing house. This may be a new house or one we just don't really ever hear about too often. But this one here, we do think is probably worth picking up the spec on. These really small indie press publishers often have very low distribution and very low print runs. So if this particular title gets picked up and goes anywhere, you're sitting on a winner. There's not going to be a lot of these out there. A lot of people are not going to pick up this title because they're not familiar with the publisher. And the publisher isn't going to have main roads in the distribution. So, you're not going to see them in a lot of comic shops. This one here we do think is worth picking up the spec on just because of the possibility of a low print run, low distribution, and limited release. So this one here, grab it if you can. If you can't, put it in your B-list, but keep an eye on this one. Next up from Image Comics, Voyagus #1. One of the Voyager probes is found by an alien on a distant uninhabitable planet, and with it brings hope of salvation for her race. Now once again, sounds like it lends itself very well to a feature film, streaming series, or TV show. Image Comics, like we mentioned earlier, has had a lot of their titles picked up in the past, and this one here sounds like it lends itself very well to a small screen or big screen project. So this one here may make a great spec bet. I know you can't get them all. If you can, pick it up. If you can't, put it in your B-list and keep an eye on it. Next up from Marvel Comics, Captain America and the Winter Soldier Special #1. This features a debut of a new character design and persona for Bucky Barnes. This also features the origin of the Outer Circle. This one here, we definitely think you should pick up and add to your collection. Bucky Barnes has a huge fan base, huge collector base. People love this character. They love the Winter Soldier. So this is one we do think you should definitely pick up and add to your collection. This is a new character design and persona. It really depends on what Marvel has planned for this particular character. They are changing the persona and the character design. So they may be looking to introduce a new Winter Soldier into the MCU. Whatever they're planning on doing with this particular character, it's probably a great idea to have the new character design and the new persona. And this also features the origin of the Outer Circle. So this one here, we definitely think you should pick up for your collection. And finally for Marvel Comics, Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings #5. This features the origin of the Ten Rings. The Shang-Chi franchise, huge fan base, huge collector base for this particular franchise. And this story here features the origin of the Ten Rings. This one here is probably worth picking up. Like we always say, the origin stories aren't necessarily as popular or as sought after as the first appearance of new characters, but they are important, and they're definitely important to the mythology of the particular stories. So this one here, in our opinion, is probably worth picking up for the cover price. Grab it if you can. If you can't, put it in your B-list and keep an eye on it. So there you have the 13 titles that we have for you guys this week. Definitely some books in there for you guys to pick up for your collection. So please feel free to drop some comments in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video. And as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for joining us here at Certified Collectibles, and we'll see you again next time.